Welcome to The Topic, where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. I'm Daniel Scholl, one of the friendly financial coaches here at HCC, and today we're talking about apprenticeships. We're first joined by Shamyia Henderson, the Business and Community Outreach Coordinator for Work-Based Learning and Industry Partners. Shamyia, thank you for joining us. Shamyia?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. Glad you're here. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful yourself.
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So tell us a little bit about the Gulf Coast Regional Apprenticeship Hub.
Yes, so the Gulf Coast Region Apprenticeship Hub is a collaborative effort aimed at fostering workforce development and economic growth in the industries across the region. It is dedicated to fostering mutually beneficial partnerships between individuals seeking an apprenticeship and valuable hands-on the job training, mentorship, and as well as for businesses needing to have a pipeline for skilled talent.
Okay, great. Apprenticeship's kind of a strange word, right? I think of either like the Sorcerer's Apprentice or one of the Jedis has an apprentice, right, in Star Wars. Why don't you tell us, what is an apprenticeship? Yeah.
Yes, no, that's a very valid question. And I think a lot of people think that as well. Typically, when you think of an apprenticeship, you may think of Star Wars, like you just mentioned, all those references. However, typically an apprenticeship, it used to be in the trades. You would see like a welding apprenticeship or a carpentry apprenticeship, but it is a proven work-based model. It's been around for hundreds of years. And an apprenticeship, it combines a few things. So for an apprenticeship, it typically is 1 to maybe 2 years long. The individuals have to receive a certificate. It has to include some type of classroom instructional, and then on the job training, which is called OJT, as well as a wage progression. So typically, again, apprenticeships for the trades, but now there's been a big push in increasing apprenticeships for all industries. So for instance, being the business and community outreach coordinator, some of the industries that I cover are healthcare, IT, child development or education professions, as well as business and retail. So it's to push apprenticeships and to build apprenticeships in those industries. And I would say healthcare has probably been one of my biggest ones. They've really taken the bull by the horns and saying, you know what, we're going to introduce apprenticeships into our strategic planning when it comes to recruitment and just looking ahead in regards to workforce development.
That's great. And, especially here with HCC, we have a lot of students that are in the trades and in healthcare and different fields like that. It's not, it's kind of obvious how this would benefit the student, but I'm assuming this also benefits their employer as well.
Yes, it does benefit the employer. So it benefits the employer because they're able to help in regards to developing that talent that they need. Again, we meet with a lot of employers that are saying, hey, we have a problem right now, but if we don't do anything in 5 years, we'll have a really big problem, right? So they're able to help in regards to developing that talent for future years. And in regards to recruitment, they're able to recruit in maybe communities that might have not had this opportunity, because an apprenticeship, again, allows the individual to work whilst they're actually earning a living. So we call it earn while you learn. So they're able to recruit in communities and, again, environments where typically they wouldn't be able to, decide if they're going to sacrifice making a living and going to school. It also improves productivity and retention because individuals see like, wow, my employer is invested in me. They believe in me. They want to see me grow. And there's a lot of professional development in an apprenticeship, because another qualification I forgot to mention was that apprentice will receive a mentor. So that's something that I tell people is just very crucial in regards to succeeding professionally. And then also it creates flexible training for the employers. And then again, it increases retention. The retention rate for an apprenticeship is about 90%.
Wow, that's very high. And so does this often lead to continued employment after the apprenticeship with the employer?
Yes.
Okay.
It does. And again, the goal, we want to, have the person stay there, and then the employer, they invest all of this time, as well as resources into this individual. So the goal is to have that individual stay there, but also, to have that individual be ready for the workforce. If let's say they're not at that company, they're at least skilled in, let's say a profession is certified nurse aide. They're a skilled certified nurse aide and they have experience.
Gotcha. This might seem like a kind of an elementary question, but is there a difference between an internship and an apprenticeship?
Yes, there is a difference in between an internship and an apprenticeship. And that's even kind of how I explain it to people. So an internship, typically they are not paid. An internship is typically shorter.
Gotcha.
An apprenticeship, again, they can be 1 to 2 years. Typically, hours are 1 to 2 years. However, for some of the trades, they can go up to 5 years, right? Apprenticeship, they
Okay.
have that progressive wage schedule, meaning they have a starting wage, a middle wage, and an exit wage. I will also say that apprenticeships are more tailored to the position. I'm sorry, the position and the job that they have. I know for some internships, sometimes you're just getting coffee and you're just assigned to help on a project. It's not really customized and structured, right? You may just,
Right.
oh, I'm an intern, so whatever you need me to do, I'll do. Whilst an apprenticeship is very structured, especially the apprenticeships that we have at the Gulf Coast Region Apprenticeship Hub. Our apprenticeships are registered through the Department of Labor. So what that means is that we say, hey, this individual is going to master these competencies related to this position. So say you're a certified nurse aide, you have to master all of these competencies in order for the Department of Labor to say, yes, this person is qualified to go work, right? So I would say it's just more customizable and structured when an internship it's not tailored to the role.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, you're really, letting people earn money while they're learning, which is amazing. And it sounds like you're really trying to create this into a very much more dynamic field. If students are interested in learning more about this, how can they get information?
So if they're interested in learning more, again, the Apprenticeship Hub. So I'll spell it out. It's hccs.edu/apprenticeship hub.
Okay.
And that's where they can find
Wonderful.
information in regards to apprenticeships.
Well, I think this is an amazing program, and I can't thank you enough for coming on today and sharing all this information with us. And man, putting students to work, that's what they're here for, right?
Right, definitely. And also that we're building, the next leaders and professional leaders and stuff so that they are equipped to handle the next level of their life. Yes.
And we just have a little tiny bit left, but just a quick question.
Yep.
And as we see HCC students in these programs, as they move up, do they come back and try to pick up more HCC students?
You mean the employers?
Yeah, like
Yes.
are we starting to see like an
Yes.
HCC
Oh,
kind of
yes. So
spiral?
almost like,
Yeah.
so I would say a lot of my employee partners or clients, we have reoccurring apprenticeship openings. So maybe we have a cohort
Wonderful.
in January, and then we'll have another cohort in August, right? So once we've established this relationship, yes, we're supposed to have that open door in regards to that. We want them to keep taking our students and giving our students the opportunity to earn while they're learning, and also getting those skills right after learning it in the classroom. So yes, employers do come back, as well as apprentices can come back, because a lot of apprenticeships are stackable.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for the work that you do and taking care of our students here and coming on and sharing with your program. When we come back, we're going to meet one of HCC's apprenticeship partners.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thank you for coming on. Bye-bye.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
For more than a year, we have kept you informed with more than 500 remote episodes. But now we're back, bigger and better, with more news and more guests. Join us live every weekday at 10 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube, and on HCC TV at noon and 5 p.m. You can watch from anywhere. We go where you go.
And welcome back to the topic. We're taking an in-depth look at apprenticeships, and joining us now is Maria Darby, the Chief Operating Officer for Dwyer Workforce Development. Welcome, Maria.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, we're so thankful that you're here. How are you doing today?
I am great.
Wonderful. We'd love to hear that. So you run a certified nurse aide apprenticeship program, also known as like a CNA program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. As Shamyia was saying, it's really the best part about it is it's earn while you learn, because, this is a frontline job. It's sort of entry level in a lot of ways. And so people don't necessarily have the luxury of doing this entirely, right? They need to make some sort of income while they're pursuing this certification. And the apprenticeship model allows that to happen. So they're studying how to be a CNA. They are starting as a hospitality aide, so they're getting money, while they're doing the work. Mm-hmm. But they're also exposed to what that looks like in an actual senior care facility. So there's not a surprise mechanism, right? You sort of understand the work. You're doing sort of the basic pieces around as the hospitality aide. You're going to school for your, for your certification, and then you're being mentored, as Shamyia talked about, by a nurse that helps you see sort of not only the work, but the progression of what the career can lead for you as you go forward. So we love it. We're very excited to do this sort of launch. I think we are the first in the state with HCC doing a CNA apprenticeship model. Part of that is the challenge is that CNA certification is shorter than a traditional apprenticeship model. And so HCC, being as creative as y'all are, have figured out how to create a program that makes sense, meets the requirements, but also is focused on the student benefit, the learning skill, and the employer partner as well.
So you said it's a little bit of a shorter program. How long does this program normally take?
Well, so the whole apprenticeship is still a full year, but the classroom-based apprenticeships are you usually have a longer period. So when you become an apprentice in the CNA program, you're going to the CNA class, you'll get the certification of a CNA, and you have the addition of either EKG or phlebotomy. So you have sort of an intro exposure to either one of those two fields, which already gives you a leg up about thinking about your next, certification. What's your next step for your career is kind of built in to the model initially, which is really the creative genius of Dr. Robinson and the HCC team. It's been incredible in terms of just getting people to think beyond the initial, right? Immediately, not just thinking about what this job is, but what it can lead to as you consider a healthcare career.
Well, and I think that's, interesting as you're talking about how is this leading into the future, right? Because it sounds like this is not just impacting our students, but it's also impacting the entire healthcare workforce and their patients and everyone down the line.
It's crazy. So those of us in senior care, which is where I spent my career before I came to Dwyer Workforce Development, recognized the sort of challenge around the healthcare workforce long before COVID, but the world recognized it then, right? And so we have this aging tsunami that's happening. There's 10,000 people in our country turn 65 every day. So if you think about that sort of aging pipeline, the sort of decrease in younger people to start with, and then sort of what COVID, the experience, did to the healthcare workforce, you see this tsunami of challenge, right? And Dwyer's work with HCC around the CNA program has maxed it to the place where we are providing wraparound support for the student while they're engaging in this apprenticeship model, because we know that the pay on the front end might create challenges for folks. So Dwyer does the sort of wraparound support. So support with transportation and childcare and housing insecurity and food insecurity, as well as sort of coaching and mentoring in addition to the mentor that's happening in the workplace and the HCC support that they're receiving. So the person that's sort of starting down this path has every chance to be successful because of this partnership that we're doing together.
Well, that's awesome. And, anytime you can wrap around and really treat the whole student, nothing but success is going to come from that, right?
Correct.
Speaking of success, can you share a success story with us with one of your HCC apprentices?
So do you have 5 hours? Because I have so many. No,
I don't. I have about 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, one of the challenges really around is this piece around balancing life, which all of us learn as we become employed. But a student who's trying to work potentially full time while going to school, that becomes an even greater challenge. And so we had a wonderful student that has been placed in working at our Well Central Health facility at in Missouri City. And so that student was doing really well. They were a star student. They were amazing. They were very successful, but had some personal life challenges that were keeping them from being as successful as they could be. And so we swooped in collectively to say, like, HCC identified the challenge. The instructor, a mentor on site, recognized how they could provide support, and then DWD provided sort of the financial wraparound support and coaching that the person needed in order to move from sort of a stress place for themselves to this place of success. And now they are looking at their sort of next step in their certification process. So what's next beyond CNA? And in Maryland, where we started, we already have people sort of starting their nursing career, because that's the goal, right? Is to pipeline people that have an interest starting as a CNA, upskill themselves, med tech, P tech, farm tech, to then considering being an LVN or an RN. And then Dwyer pays for that next step in the education process, right? So they get the support through ACC and the apprenticeship model. And then after they've been that for a year, we support them in whatever their next steps are in their healthcare career financially, so that they're able to not make it just a dream, but to make it a reality for themselves.
So you said something interesting to me. You said you're based out of Maryland originally?
We are, yes.
Okay. And yet you're working here with Houston. What made that connection with HCC important to you all?
Well, who doesn't love Texas, first of all, right? But with the other piece that was
there you
really,
go. True.
We do work with in Texas with Well Central Health, and so which was the original Regency portfolio. But the piece of that that's so important with HCC is that they are creative and out of the box thinkers. Like, I love education. I loved higher ed. I worked in higher ed for a while. But, the world is changing. And I think community colleges need to change as well, recognizing the challenges that people have as they try to balance work, life, and school. And HCC is very creative, willing to step outside that and say what works for not just the student and not just the school, but what works for the employer, and how can we really come together to create the best partnership possible, the best plan possible, so that everyone is more successful. And our goal is how do we serve more, right, together? And I think that that's really a philosophy that HCC seems to have in the community, and we fully embrace it, and we love working with the college. And this has sort of launched other discussions on how we can work together to sort of manage the healthcare crisis in the Houston area in partnership with HCC. So we're blessed to be at the table. So thank you again for the invitation to be here to talk about it.
Yeah, no, this is exciting. And you always like to hear, that we are, trying to do dynamic things. And I think when you get synergy like this, amazing things can happen. Thank you, Maria, so much for coming on today. And thank you so much for the work that you do for not just our students, but our community here in Houston. And you enjoy the rest of your day. Go have some crab cakes for us.
Right, there you go. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Right.
When we return, we're going to get one last perspective on apprenticeship partnerships here at HCC.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
And welcome back to the topic. We're still talking about apprenticeships, and our next guest is Collin Kinstley. He's a human resources trainer at JAS Worldwide. Collin, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, and we're thrilled that you're here. JAS Worldwide, why don't you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so JAS Worldwide, we are a global freight forwarder. And so what that basically means is that we handle international shipping for shipments and companies shipping cargo all around the world, doing import, export. We also handle all of the customs formalities around that, like doing the import clearance, export clearances. We mainly focus on the freight forwarding side, but we also do 4PL, 3PL services. We do warehousing, inventory, PO management, and yeah, we're really like a full service logistics provider. We have over 200 offices around the world, and 27 of those offices are actually here in the U.S. So those are pretty much around most of the major cities in the U.S. We do have a JAS forwarding office. So you'll hear us called JAS Worldwide or JAS Forwarding, kind of mixture of those two different names. But that's all JAS World, pretty much the same.
Okay. And you have offices here in Houston?
Yes, we do. We have an office here in Houston. We have an office here. We actually have, 5 offices in Texas. So we have a Houston branch, which has 2 warehouses, one by the port, one out by the airport. We have an office in Dallas. We have an office in McAllen. We have an office in El Paso and an office in.
Okay. And so and obviously you work with HCC to get apprentices for your places here. Do you focus solely in Houston, or do they get an opportunity to travel to other destinations?
So our apprenticeship program, we actually are working with multiple different colleges around the U.S. to pull apprentices in. So we are working with HCC. This is a newer partnership of ours. So hopefully this year we'll actually be starting to get some apprentices from HCC. We don't have one yet, but we do have some apprentices that we are working with, brought in from other community colleges before. So we're really excited to be working with HCC. We've been putting a lot of time and effort into building up this program. So yeah, we're really looking forward to the future of getting people into our Houston branch. They probably won't be traveling around the U.S.,
Okay.
but they'll be getting a extensive experience with inside of our Houston branch.
Well, and that's probably good, right? You probably don't want to scare a student off, be like, you might have to go to Dallas,
Right.
We all know how Houstonians feel about Dallas anyway. But that's kind of exciting that you're just getting into the ground floor. I mean, really, if there's a student out there interested in this, I mean, you could be apprentice number 1. That's kind of exciting. Not many people get to say that. So you mentioned that you work with different educational institutions. Why is that important to your company to work with the schools?
Yeah, so it's really important for us because we were constantly looking for new talent to come and join our organization, and we really think that starting at an early age to get into this industry is really the best way to go about it. You get to approach it with a very open mindset when you're younger. You don't have a lot of experiences that are kind of changing the way that you feel about. So you really come into it with a very open-minded perspective. And we offer very, very well-rounded courses that we take them through, all the trainings that we do. We go through all of our different departments, and they'll spend about a month to 2 months working in each department. So that's basically they'll be mentoring and doing their on-the-job training with our departments. And then they'll also be doing different classes as well along the way. We also host our own classes at JAS, but then if they're going through say like HCC or for instance, then they'll be doing those degree plans as well that pair exactly to the job that they're going to be doing with us at JAS.
Okay. And again, it sounds like y'all are really trying to create like a win-win situation, right? Win for the student, win for the community, win for your company as well. Now I know you've not had an HCC student yet, but I would like you to get students excited about applying for this program. Tell them a little bit, if you just share a success story. Obviously, it's not going to be an HCC student, but could you share a story of an advantage or a student that's really taken advantage of the opportunities that y'all have given them?
Yeah, so we have quite a few different success stories that from mostly in Charleston is where we work with another technical college there in Charleston, where we had quite a few students. But I actually kind of want to veer this to a little bit of different direction real quick, which is apprenticeships for the logistics industry is quite new. Actually, I know Shamyia earlier was talking about apprenticeships being kind of a newer thing within the business world and stuff like that. So within the U.S., it is absolutely a totally new concept when it comes to logistics. But this concept has actually been around for a very, very long time in across the pond over in Europe and in Great Britain and stuff like that.
Okay.
They've actually for like hundreds of years that they've had apprenticeship programs. That is the only way that people would get into these types of trades was to go through that. So we actually have a lot of our directors, VPs, higher level corporate managers and stuff like that that actually came from those apprenticeship programs in Europe. And then to bring it back to more recent times with our current apprentices, we have 3 in our Charleston office that are all doing excellent. They're about probably 3/4 of the way through their program right now, which our program is about a 12 to 15-month competency base. So it depends on how fast they're able to, get the information, be able to do the job, and show that
process it and
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're basically on their way to completing the program. So we're really happy and excited with those 3, and we're looking forward to working with HCC and bringing on more apprentices.
Well, and that's to hear you say that people are starting out these apprenticeships and then moving up into upper management. I mean, that's very exciting, right? Because I think so often here you talk about advanced degrees and all these expense related things that you might need to move up into management. But to think that someone can really start in the ground floor and work their way up through their company, I mean, I think that can have incredible impact on the workforce here in the United States and the success of our economy overall. I mean, that's really exciting stuff.
Absolutely.
So we just just want to say thank you for partnering with HCC. We're excited to have this new partnership, and maybe we can come back around some other time and see how it's progressed in the a year down the road.
Sounds good.
Cool.
We're so happy to be working with HCC, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here and talk about apprenticeships.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining us, Collin, and enjoy are you in Charleston?
No, I'm actually based in Houston as well.
Oh, okay. Well, enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you later.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today on the topic. For more information on this, you can visit hccs.edu/podcasts. And for everyone involved in today's show, here at the topic on HCC TV, I'd like to say thank you. And I'm Daniel Scholl. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.